shake your dreams from your hair. I'm already there, right beside you. So please, don't hide, just say I'll be there if it breaks, right beside you. Suddenly I know now how it feels. I no longer have to beg or steal. I can stand now on this higher ground, where love is just a sound. Where love is...
Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Can you believe it? We're already August 18th. It is insane. I can't believe how quick the summer has gone by. My kids go to a French school, so they're starting school in a week. They have a week of summer left, and it's just insane that we're getting back into a school year already. Yeah, and the weather's been weird. A lot of rain over here. I don't know how things are for all those that are viewing, but it's been, a lot of hurricane remnants and a lot of rain coming over, and quite a wet end of the summer, I guess. And I say end of the summer because pumpkin spice latte is not out, I don't think, in Starbucks yet, but the flavoring for the coffee's out. And I've never been one to get on the pumpkin spice train. I've been kind of avoiding it, I guess, because it's been like the hype that everybody loves in the fall. But my son convinced me to pick up the pumpkin spice latte flavoring. So this is actually the first time this week that I really try it out. And I'm rocking the VIP Morphs mug today. And yes, I've tried pumpkin spice and it is good. And I am now officially basic and already drinking pumpkin in August, and it's not fall yet. But hey, it is what it is. Speak of VIP Morphs, there's no lamest chat tonight. My husband's gone for several days. He's going to be gone. He just left this morning, actually, and he's going to be gone until Wednesday. So it's just going to be me and the kids this week. He has a conference, he's doing his municipal duty as a counselor. So going to hang out the conference, but fellow reptile person's going to be there. Corey Woods is part of it too, so he gets to go in and still talk ball pythons, even though he's not at a reptile event. So I'm sure he's going to enjoy that. Wow, we got some good people in the house this morning on a Sunday morning. Thank you all for being here bright and early. Let's see who's in the chat. So we got Fat Man was in the chat first thing this morning, and I got a joke about this. So he will see when I'm online early in the morning and send me a message and ask me why I'm not sleeping and get back to bed. And this morning I had a good excuse. It's because I was getting ready for this, which I think he forgot I had the podcast this morning. So, I had to do my hair and my makeup and not look like a troll this morning for the podcast for all of you guys. So, definitely need to get up early. I feel the older I get, the earlier I have to get up to get ready, because it takes a little bit more time than it did when I was in my 20s. That's for sure. Good morning, Chris. And then we got Tammy in the house. Good morning, Tammy. I hope you're doing well and enjoying this weird, super humid Ottawa weather. And then my hubby's in the house this morning. He's driving and getting all his stuff ready because I thought I had a little bit more time with him today, but I guess the conference starts today. So he had to go and pick up his carpool buddies, and then they're going to be going and spending the next couple days downtown Ottawa. Sounds like a party. And then we have Natty's Micro Pets in the house. Good morning. Oh, that's like a little sun, a little emoji in the comment. That's cute. And then Cassandra's in the house as well. Good morning, Cassandra. Yeah, he's saying we still have over a month. I think he's talking about the pumpkin spice and, getting back into the groove of things. But I find that when the kids start going to school, it like when it starts up again, fall really is like just around the corner. And I hope that it kind of delays and we still have some warmer weather before we get into the cold, because I don't like the cold. And I'm sure a lot of people don't like it unless you guys are snowboarders. Definitely like the hot weather much better. So I hope you guys are doing well. I'm going to pop in um, the tea. Do we have a little bit of tea this morning? All right. So I don't know if you guys have watched it yet, but David at Tiki's Geckos did an awesome video about the highway project over at Omni Geckos. So I remember when I first kind of got into the gecko, got into like looking up the cappuccino stuff anyways. Guardians of the Gecko had done a video with Omni Geckos about their cappuccino line, and which they call Highway, which was a gecko they had found at the expo that they saw was different, and essentially proved it out and made a super, and we're on the train that it was cappuccino. Well, with the time passing, what has been discovered is that it's a little bit different than the cappuccino, and it's kind of somewhere between cap and sable. So we're looking at potentially I guess, I don't know if it's gene morph to work with, which is super exciting. I know that people have tried to mix it with caps. I think that they were mentioning in the video that there's some people that are working it with sable as well to kind of see how it interacts with sable. So it's super exciting to see that there's new things popping up. We've had quite a lot of things popping up as of recent. So very excited. And I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's really, really cool looking. It does resemble, I mean, it's kind of like a cap. It's kind of like a sable. The markings are a bit different on the back. I've always liked them. I wanted to work with them specifically myself for cap projects, but there's very limited ones that are released. So it'll be really exciting to see how that project grows and what people are going to be working it with and how it interacts with other genes. So that's the tea. If you haven't checked it out, go on Tiki's website on YouTube, and they do have an awesome video that kind of explains a little bit more, and there's some pictures. And if you want some background history on it, again, Guardians of the Geckos has a really awesome video, but in that video, they're talking about it as if it's a cap. But you kind of get to learn the history a little bit more, and it's neat that it's its new thing now. Today we have a little bit of a different format. We're doing kind of like a coffee chat with friends. One of our guests is actually our first guest that we had when I started this podcast with April. Oh God, we're on episode 19 now. So that would be April from the Gecko Hub. And so decide to bring her back and kind of get an update and see how things are going. Also, we have Rose and David from Rouge River Geckos, and they both did their first expo at the Ottawa Valley expo that just happened last weekend. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of touch base and see how touch base, see what their projects are doing, how the expo went, and where everyone's at. So, and I made a little intro, so it's a new one for friends. So I'm going to pop that in and let's bring them on. Hey guys, how's it going?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. And look at you. You have the Tim Hortons. You got a special drop this morning. Rocking the Timmies.
Yes, it's amazing having good teenage kids. What?
Yeah.
No, adults. No, those teenage
You
years are
can
long gone.
send them away. It's great
I'm
when
trying
they
to hold
start
on
to
to it
drive.
if possible.
What's that? Sorry?
We're trying to hold on to those teenage years as long as possible, but they've outgrown that.
Yeah, I hear you. Our son Aiden is 17 and he's going to get his he's going to do the test for the G2 in about a week. And we're now car shopping, right? So we're looking at cars and I'm just kind of thinking, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be nice when he has his license. I can be like, can you go and pick this up for me? It's nice when they can go and help you
It'll
out a
be your
little bit.
it'll be your personal Uber driver, which is nice.
Oh,
Uber Eats whenever you want anything.
I think you guys froze for a second there. Hold on. You back?
You seem to be frozen.
Is it me that's
My
frozen?
is is my connection good?
Yeah, you're
Just because
good.
I'm
Okay, we're good. We're
all
back.
right.
Sorry, David, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying it's going to be nice having your own Uber driver and Uber Eats. You can say, go get me this and go get me that. And here's a shopping list. And as long as you just find the car, they won't mind, I don't think.
Yeah, throw a little bit of extra gas money here and there. And they're like, what? You gave me gas money? Yeah, that's awesome. How's it going, April? You seem to have nice weather over there.
Yeah, threw a towel down on the chair because I wanted to be outside, but I guess it was raining all last night, so it's damp this morning. My windows were all fogged up, but yeah, no, we're good now. Sun's
It's
peeking a little bit behind the clouds, but yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it's that weird weather, eh? You get like the rain is trying to cool it off, but it's still so warm and humid that everything kind of gets fogged up and weird. We're on a farm, so we have the horses are outside all the time. They have shelters, so they have places to kind of go and hide. But the pigs come in the barn, and then when I go and bring them out, I'm like, okay, well, is it a day that they stay in the barn with fans today, or are we taking them out? How muddy is it out there? So it's kind of like one of those like you have to assess from day to day. But yeah, was it raining over where you guys are, Rose and David?
Non-stop yesterday.
Yeah, eh?
We were getting like little 5-minute breaks, but when it came down heavy.
Yeah.
So that was all day yesterday.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about you? Because I know April's been on already. She's had her episode, and I would like to share with the viewers who is Rouge River Geckos and how did you get into this?
Go for it. You start.
You'd like me to start?
Why not?
Well, we went to a show um, in Toronto, and we weren't in had no understanding of Crested Geckos at all. We actually went for our daughter, and she wanted to get a frog. So we said, let's go. It was a fun day, so we decided to go. It was okay. It was a wonderful day. It was so fun. And there was a vendor who was walking around with Crested Gecko and asked to feel it, and that was it. So just the touch of the animal just got us extremely interested and wanted to learn more. So that's how it began. So
And we left that show with 2 animals,
yes,
and
Okay.
it quickly turned into this.
Isn't that always the case, eh? It was like just as soon as you held it, you're like, okay, you're coming home with me. So what was it a special like what color was it? Tell us about this gecko.
Harlequin. Her,
Yeah. I
she
mean,
was 4 months, you know.
oh, that's who we brought home. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And
And how did you come up with so what made you decide was it just like that you love them so much and you saw what other people were working with gene wise and stuff? Like what made you decide to get into, hey, I'm
very,
gonna breed geckos now?
you know what? It was just the whole, ability to take um, two animals and create something that, it's your vision. It's, artistic side of things, right? So
Yeah.
for me, I just, the anticipation, it's just amazing. Like, you having that creative edge. So for us, it's that's basically what it is. I would say,
Mm.
AJ.
My hubby comes in and says we all have addictive personality disorder. At least you're picking up something that's not that negative. I
That's
mean,
right.
it could be a lot worse. Like, let's be real here. So where'd the name come from?
That's easy. I'll do that one. So we have the Rouge River runs right out through the front of our house.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we're steps away from the Rouge River. So we took advantage of that and we figured Rouge River Geckos because I mean how can you not love just looking at the water? And we go down there quite a bit, and there's a beautiful hiking trail that runs through it in our area, anyways.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what we went with.
That's awesome. So both you guys and April were at the expo that just came up, right? So maybe April, you can talk about this is your first expo, right? That you did?
Yeah, it was. I I went with a friend, so I shared a table with my friend Hannah, Juniper Art on Instagram, and she ordered like a new batch of gecko stickers. I think she sold almost all of them. Yeah, there's the print.
There's the
But
art. I got
um,
one.
but yeah, it was a great turnout. It was mostly families, so it was like next generation of addictive gecko and snake people. I had this one girl come up with her daughter, and her daughter was like dragging her along, looking at all the different booths. And so a lot of the people were super excited to hold the geckos, to see all the animals. Yeah, it was a fun show.
It's kind
I
of
was
neat.
able
Like,
to move a
sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say I was able to move 3 geckos at that show.
That's
Um,
awesome.
but yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to have some of those smaller events that are more local, because you're getting people that are really interested in the reptiles that come in that will want to, get this might be their first intro into getting a reptile. And I can hear there's a cricket in this room and it's me. So we were talking about this yesterday and I was like, oh, we're going to feed bugs. I'm like, this wasn't yesterday. I did not feed bugs yesterday because I was like, okay, well, we're not going to have a cricket. Well, late last night, I heard it in my ceiling. So for all of you watching the cricket, I'm the culprit. It is in my room and I cannot find it.
Oh dear.
Um, yeah, well, I'm sure a lot of other people have missing crickets in their room. That happens.
They're a bunch of freeloaders.
Right? Yeah, Cassandra she says love the print. It was really neat. I mean, how could you not get it? I don't know if you've seen this on Facebook. There was a post I saw this morning that someone had a house snake get loose in their house, and it was like a baby house snake, and they panicked and they couldn't find it anywhere. And 8 months later, they found the house snake, and it was like almost adult like size, not quite, but ready to go. And they're like, oh, I guess that's why they call it house snakes, because it just kind of found stuff to eat and survived in that house, and they were able to find it 8 months later. It's pretty wild.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
That's
how
wild.
did you guys, Rose and David, how did you find the expo? Because this is your first expo too, eh?
It was our first one that we officially vended for ourselves and our branding and our animals. Um, Honestly, it was nice that I've actually been able to vend shows before just to help out friends.
Okay.
It helped me just preparation.
Yeah.
We kind of had a list of everything that we needed to bring, um, just to set up and all that sort of stuff. And you know what? We managed not to forget anything. We had all our essentials, our paper towel and spray bottles, and we remembered to bring the animals, which was a bonus.
And sanitizer.
That's right. But as far as doing the show for the first time ourselves, it was great.
It was
Like April said, a lot of families, a lot of first time pet owners. Um, One girl in particular who got her first animal from us that weekend. Um, just the smile on her face and her excitement, and the fact that she was, you know, named it right there on the spot. We think that name stuck. Apparently, it's going to be called Sparkles because
Okay, that's a good one.
it was a patternless super doll that she fell in love with there.
Oh, cute.
And again, it was her first time touching one or holding one, and so it was nice. It was super nice.
And it was quite a drive for you, eh? It's not like it was in your backyard.
It was, you know what, we did it in 3.5 hours.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
I guess it's no different from us driving up to the Toronto ones, right?
exactly.
Mm.
But you
And
guys
if
drove down first thing in the morning. So you left at what, like 3:30?
we left at 3 a.m. just to make
Okay.
sure because there was enough time to set up and a little cool down period, and we managed. Yeah,
How was
we were
how
done
was
by
the drive
8:30.
back?
The drive back was probably just as good, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was smooth. Because we can pretty much take that Highway 7 kind of all the way home from there,
Yeah.
which is a little sort of back road scenery. But it was great. Can't complain.
That's awesome. I
And
find the
everybody
drive
knows us.
back. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Everyone knows us. We travel everywhere for shows. Just this year alone, we went to Tinley and we went to Flora Fauna, and we're constantly in the States going to all the shows. So for us, driving is,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
love it.
We don't mind it.
And it's always last minute stuff.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about that at the show too, eh? It's kind of like my husband and I, we don't travel a lot for the shows, but it's kind of nice to do things together because it's like a date night. Like,
That,
oh, we're gonna
that's
go and spend the
exactly
day
how
together.
that's exactly how we take it. We both have the same interests um, with regards to this. So for us, it's an opportunity to be together and just enjoy and explore and learn more. So it's all
That's
about learning.
awesome.
So,
April, it wasn't that bad for you because you stayed in nearby overnight, eh? Like you didn't have to do the full drive first thing in the morning.
Yeah, I was in Perth overnight and we were gonna drive home right after the show, but I was I wouldn't have made it. So we slept until 2:30 and then left around 3 a.m. And I got
Oh
back
wow.
home at 8 something or
Okay.
other and took my final exam and powered through
Ex-
the rest of the day. But
you had an exam
yeah,
to do? Oh no.
yep, Monday, yeah.
You're a
But
trooper.
well, it went well.
Yeah.
So, but
wonderful.
yeah, no, it was great to just network at the show too, and they did something that I've never seen done at a show, which was that competition, the vivarium build. That
Yeah,
was
the build
really
off.
cool. Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot.
Quinton's in the chat here saying, "Good morning, everyone. It was a great turnout. We had 500 paying guests, probably 750 if we included kids. Yeah,
Wow.
quite happy to hear it went well for both of you. No, that's awesome. Like Gerald and I came to visit, and because we couldn't stay for the full day, right? With other commitments, but it was kind of neat to come by and see everyone. It was really well organized. It was well set up. Um, you know, it, I got to see a sable in person. I was pretty stoked about that. That was neat. But yeah, I mean, like it was a good flow of people coming in. Lots of, like you're saying, lots of families bringing their kids, and kids like you'd go to the washroom and you'd hear the kids like, "Can we get that gecko? I really want the gecko!" And they're basically trying to like convince their parent. We're like, "Okay, we'll go look at it again," Like, so it was kind of neat, to see. You're like, "Oh, it's gonna be next generation of you know people that are going to get into reptiles, and this might be their first time, that they've seen or have held one or have come across and seen one in person." So it's kind of aside from what you see in pet stores, because you get way more of a variety when you go to an expo, right? So
Yeah.
David, you made these custom enclosures or like displays, and I'm going to pop these up because I saw these and I was like shocked. You did such a good job. So this is a picture of your display, and these ones you've made by hand. So,
Yes.
so how was that? Because I know I was trying to convince my husband to do this, and he's like, "Nope, this it seemed
Okay.
too much work, too complicated." So I'm gonna flip through these because these are really cool.
Okay, so I'll talk as you're flipping. So first off, Rose has way too much confidence in me. She's if it wasn't for her, these wouldn't have been made. But I
Okay.
think she knows I can sort of do whatever I put my mind to. So we found a good deal on acrylic sheets, 12 by 12 sheets,
Okay.
and as long as you have the proper saw blade, it was done with a compound miter saw, sliding compound miter saw,
Okay.
uh, with a proper blade, and make sure you have the proper solvent. I used a Weldon 4. I know I might be talking a lot of gibberish, but there will be some people who will understand what I'm saying. Um, so a Weldon 4, it's an acrylic solvent. It comes out super clear because I did a couple of prototypes beforehand that didn't turn out so well.
Okay.
Um, but as soon as I nailed the first one, it was like, okay, it's go time. Now I can just cut the material and start designing and making them whatever sizes we want, as long as it fit into that 12 by 12 parameter.
And that's the
And
awesome
then
thing is when you're making them yourself, right? Is you can make them how you want to make them.
that's right. So there's different sizes for different age groups and different sizes of animals. We had some
Mhm.
bigger ones for adults and some smaller ones for babies and juvies and sub-adults.
Yeah.
And then the venting is, I mean, a lot of people see those vents. You can get like bags of those things from Amazon.
Yes, and people use the vents too. I'm just trying to see if I can find. Well, you can see them really well here, um, but like people use those in their gecko bins and in their isopod bins, right? Like to
Oh,
add
yeah,
extra ventilation.
yeah, we use them quite a bit. I mean,
Yes.
even to keep our crickets alive, we've got bins with those things,
Yeah.
with those vents.
Yeah, well, that's awesome, and it definitely is neat to have the vents in these enclosures because you're giving like for the display, they have a lot more air circulation than the little tiny holes that you usually see in and the
And
other
you
ones
can,
that are available, right?
right, because these you can actually mist and they won't fog up
Okay.
because there's good airflow. But a lot of the display cases, like pre-made ones that you would just order, like you said, they've got those little air holes and one mist, and you close the lid, and now it's all fogged up, and then you can't see the animal anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many
So,
hours did you put into this?
we don't count that kind of stuff, Crystal.
Yes.
But like, you know what? It's fun. I mean, I'm doing it right in the
It's worth
garage.
it.
On a nice weekend or a nice
Yeah.
evening after work, right? You just kind of leave the garage door open and you just plug away. I mean, Rose would come out there in the garage and sit with me and keep me company. And
And talk.
yeah, so
So
I mean, I can honestly, I can whip one up. It probably takes me from cut to finish an hour to do one display case.
Okay.
Whether that's a big two compartment or one of the smaller three compartments or even one of the smaller two compartments, which yeah, it's there as well.
mhm.
Yeah. How do you is the smaller ones, is it one lid or is it three different lids? I can't tell
So
here
I
'cause
did okay. So the how did I do it? Oh, I'm trying to remember. Oh, one lid. So on the triple compartments, it's one
yeah,
lid. Um, the big two compartment is two lids,
yeah,
and then did I do one
And
or two lids on the smaller one?
no, for the larger ones, obviously it's one lid, and then the
yeah,
two. I think you did. Did you do two lids for the? Yes. For
But
the
some of them are a one lid, one hinge.
now
Um,
and but
yeah.
okay, so maybe you should explain why you chose to do that
I do that.
because you wanted it more cleaner.
So that was the question I was going to ask, because when you see displays on the market and stuff, that's one of the main things that I was looking at was the lids, because you have a lot of different enclosures that like displays that are available that have the one lid option. And my fear with that is always when you have the smaller geckos in there is if you're opening the lid is trying to wrangle all the other geckos and the other ones that you're not trying to get at. So how did you find that? Like with, because I think that's what the ones with the three look like they have two hinges. So I would imagine that's just one.
That's
You get a
right.
cleaner look on the top, but then you're having to
It does.
open all the compartments at the same time.
Yes.
Right.
Now I wouldn't go more than three for that, because now
Mhm.
if you're going in for one animal, you just have to worry about the other two.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So what I did was I actually brought a scrap piece of the acrylic with us, and used that as oh boy, almost as a barrier. So if
Yeah.
I
To just
needed,
kind of block them.
yeah, the far right animal, I would slide that piece in. It would hold those two animals in place, and then just kind of grab the other one that I needed. I mean, is it convenient? It's not the most convenient, but it was
Hmm.
the cleanest. It was kind of,
You were
I was gonna go function over, you know what I mean?
you
The other
Yeah.
way around.
yeah, so your focus when you were creating these was more for the look.
Yeah,
You knew you could handle removing the animals confidently. So
that's right.
it was, yes, is it for everybody? Probably not, but
No,
that's what you wanted to do. And I think that
yeah.
you did great.
I'm willing to wrangle two animals, but to have that clean looking display
Yeah.
case.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think that's a good little like hot tip for everybody, um, to think about as like when if you do have displays where you're opening multiple at the same time is to have something to cover the other ones to just slide in there, because that's the last thing you want is to. I know I have a couple that are a little nutty, and I'm dreading going to CRB because I'm like, okay, if I put this in a display, like how am I going to wrangle this out of even its own compartment to get it from there to the deli cup? I'm like, well, this is going to be a challenge, because some of them I have one in particular that I've written on its bin crazy, because I know that when I feed it or give it water, I'm like it's gonna burst out of this, and like good luck if you lose it. And some of them are
Well,
just like that, right? They all have their own personalities.
yeah, we've all got one.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think you guys you did an awesome job, and it's really neat to to see something different. So I have to ask the lights. What lights did you get to put the glow underneath?
Okay. So, they are also acrylic panels
Okay.
that have like LED strip lighting on them.
Okay.
So you kind of light up the back edge, but it lights up the entire piece of acrylic.
Oh, so did you end up making these or did you buy these?
So those were bought.
Okay. So it's like the edge of it at the back would be
Yes,
the
you got
lights, and then it glows the whole thing, and you just slid them underneath. Is that what you
it.
did, or
You got
Correct.
it.
okay.
And we actually had no power at our booth because the center tables were powerless.
Yeah.
So all of our power was running from like rigid cordless batteries, like rigid tools.
Yeah.
So we were running off of like 18-volt cordless batteries, and we had like a little power pack, and yeah, we were okay with it. All those six panels of LED lights ran off of two batteries all day, so it was great.
That's awesome. We got a question. Sorry if I missed. How are you cutting it if you're using a CNC cutter? Okay. This is supposed
Well,
to be over my head.
yeah, no, it's actually not even CNC. I'm literally using a sliding compound miter saw with a specific 80, I believe it's an 82 or an 84 tooth 10-inch saw blade. I know that's a lot. I should have put a picture of that up too, maybe. of the
You know
setup.
what? They can pause and write it down. They can go back. The
Right.
great thing is these episodes
Yeah.
are always up, so timestamp
Yeah.
it. We're 34 minutes in, okay? So you
You
can
know
go
what?
back to the
That's
episode
it.
and write it down.
Sure. Or send us a message. I'll be more than happy to send pictures of how and what I use to do everything too.
Gerald says there's lots of teeth.
Yes.
Okay, good. I understand. Well, there you go.
Excellent.
That's awesome. Um, April, last we chatted when you were on, we were in the midst of doing our import, and now we have them. So,
We do.
I think we should start talking about projects, and I'll have you lead the way because I'll pop up the geckos because I know the import is in the project, and very excited to see how um you're going to be incorporating it. And I mean, I'm eager to see what you're going to do because I got something similar myself as well, and I don't think we're on the same page as to how we're going to be taking it. So
I'm
let's
curious to
pop.
hear yours.
Yeah, so let's pop up some geckos. So this is not the import, but let's talk about these ones first.
Yeah, so this is kind of unrelated. I want to be going mostly into hypos going forward.
Okay.
But this particular project, um, I was really, I love Phantom. I love the Phantom look. Thurman is the red female on the bottom, and I want to create red based or even black based Phantom animals with white pinstriping. So kind
Okay.
of like the Xanthic look, but not Xanthic. The only thing is, I'm not sure if Vasuki is het Phantom or not, so that is to be proven, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think I have one set of eggs from them that was, it's been in there for about a month and a half now, so we're halfway to
Okay.
seeing those babies.
So that's the
But
goal with this is to kind of have the more like a white pinstripe come down and keep that phantom look.
yeah, I want to see how the pinstriping interacts with what, I can't remember who, some breeder coined the term margin. Um, and that's
Yeah.
like a heavily, it's like
I guess
Phantom that goes
yeah,
all the way up the crown. It's like a reverse white crown, basically.
yeah. The one at the bottom there, you produce this one, right?
Yeah, that
The
was from
phantom?
Tuscany and Rowan, which was a red. She was one of my first geckos. She was just a pure red patternless.
Okay.
And she made some pretty nice animals, and so did Tuscany. I have a lot of Tuscany's kids
Yeah.
that are
I'll have some Tuscany
breeding
kids
and
over here too from you.
oh
And
yeah,
like I was
your Phantom one too.
yeah, and the Lily Phantom one I think is a Tuscany kid as well, right? I think both of them were Tuscany. Um, the one thing I noticed from the phantoms that you produce was like that margin thing, but it almost looks similar to what you see like in the punks that little monsters have, where the dorsal gets like my phantom Lily, that dorsal gets so dark, like in contrast, and it's the full dorsal, which is so weird. So like I just noticed in this one, it's kind of a darker outline around like where the pinning would be.
Yeah, I think the goal in the back of my mind is to make a skunky looking animal with like a reverse super stripe. So instead of the back
Okay,
being dark, I would want like the empty back and then the dark Phantom lining the pinning and kind of
along
eating
the
away at
side.
that dorsal.
That's super neat. I'm excited to see what you're going to hatch out this year. It's the complete opposite of what I'm doing. Because I'm doing the lily white empty backs, and you're like, I just want the
Nice.
line down the middle, which is the complete opposite. Oh, that's super cool. And then you got this one.
So that's another Tuscany kid, and well, he's an obvious hypo, but taking these pictures yesterday, I hadn't noticed his head before. Like you can see his eye, like the purple under his eyes. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I don't know who I'm gonna match him with next season, but I've got to find something because I want to see what he can make. I mean, I know Cresty King has a white project, specifically white project that's not lily white. This guy is lily white, just very low expression. But yeah,
And
not sure what
you
to
might
do
not
with
be
him
able
yet,
to
but
tell. He's kind of peachy color. Like when I saw my phone, he was almost kind of like a peachy color, I guess. Or because here on this screen, it's a lot more bright, so it's hard to tell like the actual base color. So what's his base color?
I'm sure he's a yellow base.
Okay.
But he's got like, if you look closer at his skin, like I was telling you before, it looks like he was dusted with like orange powder, but not like super bright orange. But it does look like he has some like purpley red or phantom under the dorsal. You can see it better. I don't know. You can kind of see it right under the dorsal. It's a little bit
Okay.
darker, and I think that's phantom, like tiger. But yeah, I'm sure he's a yellow base. But yeah, this one's weird. He's also a phantom lily, so I don't know if
Yeah,
that's
it makes it a bit
changing.
tough, eh?
Yeah. He's a I don't know. I gotta figure out what to do with him because I'm probably gonna have a project kind of around him at some point.
And a really a cool hypo project for sure, because he's very very bright. And
Mm-hmm.
then we got into Mr. Fancy Pants over here, who's the import.
Yep. So
So
that's I've officially named him Peachy Keen.
okay,
And the one of his ladies for next season, or maybe late this season, because they both have hit 40 grams now.
okay.
She is from Footloose and Crush, and I almost sold her, but I love the way she looks, so I'm glad I held her back for this long, and I found a good pair for her. So that's one of 4 females.
And this is the other one, eh?
That's a cashew emerald baby, and I'm really excited to have her and be working with her. Her scalation is really, she's got like that thick, almost double layer along her whiteout pattern.
Okay.
And even on the dorsal as well, she's got like really thick pitting,
And she looks like
big
she has a
scales.
big head too, eh?
Yeah, you can't really see it too well there, but she's a big girl.
So I'm curious. So what's your main objective? Like, what's your main project with Peachy Keen? Because I'm curious to know what you're gonna do with him.
I want to see how tangerine interacts with orange pattern in non-lily white animals, and
Okay.
I want to see how it interacts with yellow, just
Okay.
as a base color, and if you can have like what it would look like to have a yellow animal with white pattern that's been tinted via the tangerine
So
gene.
did you see so where we got these guys from, did you see the yellow lily that they had available? Because I was this close to wanting to get that one. They did have one with the tangerine, and if you haven't, I'll flip it to you. And it is so cool. Like
Was
it's
that
a
with our
yeah, it's the one who produced the gecko. Yeah, so they had a yellow lily white, and all the white pattern was the tangerine white. So it was
mm,
yellow with the orange, and it was so cool. Like I was like, that's I want to make that.
oh, I might have missed that one, or it was out of my budget, which also could have been
It,
possible.
it was a little bit pricier. That's the only reason I didn't get it. Like,
Mm,
oh, it's a little bit out of my budget. But yeah, I'll send you the picture of it. But yeah, it's really neat. Like the yellows with that tangerine look. I know with the red one that I picked up that has there's like a the empty back one or the head empty back one I picked up.
right, yeah.
The white kind of does have tangerine in some spots. You can see there's a slight influence, but it's not like as intense as some of the other stuff. And that one's going to go to my C2 male that I got from the States, the yellow with the high white pattern. So I'm hoping, and he's had empty back as well. So I'm curious to see how it's going to interact with the C2. And she's
Yeah,
red.
me
So
too.
It'll be a fun one. But so people can see, here's the mine that I picked up. So this is, I named him Corcovado, so it's Vado. And the orange on, like, the tint on these guys is so different, because I
It is,
find
yeah.
that he's fired down here. So it looks more white, but in person it still has like a orange hue to it. Like, it's hard to explain. It has like an overall orange glow, and then when they're fired up, like, it's really apparent.
Yeah, I've noticed, especially with mine, the orange on the head,
Mm-hmm.
it's so different from my other tangerine animals. I can't even explain it. It's like
It
the
has,
skin underneath is also heavily
yeah,
pigmented.
this scalation is weird too. Like, even on the dorsal, I find down into
Yeah.
the tail, it's like, when I compare it to the other tangerine stuff I have, it's not the same. It's a different way that it's interacting. And even on the, like, between the eyes, on the bridge of the nose, you'll get like bright spots of orange that are just like
Mm.
almost neon at times when he's fired up. Like, it's very, very different. It's cool.
Do you have any, it looks like Dalmatian spots, but it's orange. Have you seen any of that on your male?
On him, yes, on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the red does have a couple, like, just regular dowels, but him, I've noticed, and it's mainly on his face that I've noticed
Mhm.
it, but he does have like bright orange spots here and there, which is kind of neat. So for
Yeah,
him, when I want to work with, I've held back some of my hypo, and I've sent you pictures of these, but the hypo reds, with the like triple X orange markings on them, like, that really come up. Like, so that's what I'm pairing him with once they're ready to go.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, and
I
I
can't wait to see that.
have a Halloween soft scale as well that I'm thinking of pairing him to.
That's also a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the Halloween soft scale I got from Robbie, and I'm like, okay, like, I wasn't sure, and she's not there yet, but she will be for next season. And I'm like, okay, well, I really want to see how this tangerine's going to interact, with Halloween, and have maybe some Lily Halloween interaction in there. I don't know. I've looked all over the internet. I don't know if any of you have seen any projects where people are mixing tangerine Lily with Halloween, but I haven't found anything.
I'm not mixing Lily this year, but I do have an empty back tangerine soft scale who I can't remember who he's pairing with now. I'll have to find a picture for you, but yeah, no Lily White in mine.
Yeah.
But that sounds really cool.
Tammy says she's completely obsessed with tangerine. I wasn't at first, and April got me on it. I was like, I really like the white pattern stuff. And then I started seeing these guys, and I was like, oh, maybe I really do like tangerine. So
It
I'm
was
like,
that
I'm
import.
sold. Yeah, that import got me, man. Like, yeah, I'm excited to see what we'll make with those. But that's the direction I'm going with that. Have you changed any of your plans? Like, so you're doing hypo, phantom stuff, the tangerine stuff. Is there any other like special projects that you're working on, or?
My lavenders are big.
Yeah.
And I do have, I don't know. There's a few tricolors that I'm holding back, but they're on the back burner. But I do want to keep a couple geckos in case I want to incorporate them in the future, because I would like to also see how tangerine works on a tricolor animal. But and like the different types of tangerine, if that's even a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, for now I'm just focusing. Next year is going to be heavy on lavenders, tangerines, bright yellows, all things hypo, basically.
Cool. That's awesome. And David, Rose, what will pop up your geckos? What direction are you guys going into? Because I guess there's so many different options. It's really hard, to kind of have a focus on something.
Yeah, so we don't focus on anything, to be honest.
You're just
We're
like, I like all the geckos.
we do though. We love everything, and everything we believe's got potential.
Yeah.
and a lot of stuff may have things hiding in it, and we will pair up two animals that everybody else would probably look at and go, no, that's not going to work. And Rose and
Hmm.
I will look at each other and go, yeah, let's try this out and
Let's
see
give
what
it a go.
happens. And you know what? Not everything is amazing,
Hmm.
but that's with everything that everybody does. Um, but we've hit on a few things this year that we're super excited about,
Yes.
to be honest. Like these two here, I mean, they're making in our eyes, they're making absolutely beautiful animals.
So tell us about these two, and then I have a couple slides after that are hatchlings from them, right?
You may, yeah, I'm not sure if I sent, but if
Are
you
they
yeah,
these
that's
ones?
amazing. Okay, there's a couple, yeah,
Yeah,
amazing,
there we go. Okay.
yeah. So Latte's dad, he's on top,
Okay.
huge head, gorgeous structure, and mom, that's Coco. She actually, I just pulled two eggs from her this morning. She's a laying machine. She's amazing. Um, it was actually both their first time as well this year.
First,
Their
Okay.
first season ever breeding, whether it be together or separate. So they're both considered virgins.
Okay.
She's doing amazing, and babies are looking good. But again, like you might look at these two, and it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but they
Yeah.
are. We're super happy with everything that's coming out of these two.
yeah.
So is this one of the hatchlings from that pairing?
Yeah, that's like straight out of the egg, and we just kind of grabbed the camera. That's one of them.
Yeah. You can
Thumb
already see
hugger.
like the floppy crests, say at the bottom, like right on the
Yeah,
side.
right.
They just kind of like already ready to go. Oh, that's awesome. And this one's super vibrant too. Very cool. So that's exciting. And then we got these guys here.
So there's a story.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll start with Luna on top.
Yeah.
So she was our first animal ever. So the whole expo thing that our very first show, fell in love with Cresties because we were able to touch one. Luna is one of the animals that came home with us that day.
Yes.
Awesome.
Barry, yes, and Barry is from April.
Yeah.
No.
Ah, there he is. I didn't
Yeah,
recognize him
and
at first, but I see the side now.
and the name Barry, we kind of altered it, but it's April's from Barry.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, he's gonna be Barry. Barry with a Y rather than the IE. So yeah,
That's
so these
funny.
two are again, both virgins, first time coming together this year. She's been laying consistently. Not everything has some of the eggs have gone bad and whatnot. Not super strong, but we currently have two clutches that she laid in July, one on July 3rd, one on July 31st, that are looking really good. So those four are in the incubator currently, and we're super excited to see
Very
what
excited.
yes, yes, yes.
That's
Very.
awesome. You're gonna have to share those all over Instagram once they start
Oh,
hatching
We
out.
will. We will.
And I like this
Ooh.
pairing. These are pretty.
right? Some more
Right.
craziness,
Yes.
and they're giving us incredible. So every clutch is coming out with one Harlequin and
Okay.
one Tiger.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So tell us about these geckos and what made you decide you wanted to pair them. So
So I
lemonade, I guess,
really
is a yellow.
I really wanted the tiger. So I wanted to make tigers, and I
Yeah.
really wanted them to look like a tiger, to get those
Yeah.
bold sort of striping. And I think it's happening. I think it's working out.
So we wanted, yeah. So it had the dark
Hmm.
black
Dark
striping.
dark base, and a nice yellow striping.
Yeah, you
Do you have any
see
pictures
the
of?
sorry, go ahead, April.
I was just gonna ask if they had pictures of the babies.
Yeah, we do. I think coming up. Did you know? Yeah.
I may not have.
I don't have them. No, it's but we'll have to share them. Maybe if you want to flip them on your story and people go and take a look on Instagram, it'd be kind of neat to see the hatchlings out of Lemonade and Sheila
Sure.
and see what you're starting to produce. Tiger is an interesting one because like I know April's worked with that because you sold one. Was it Esso? Is the one you sold out to California, which was a pretty like had a lot of tigering on it. And you produced a bunch of pink ones as well, eh?
Only a couple with Simba, who was a strawberry blonde, but she wasn't
Okay.
tiger. She was brindle because she
Okay.
had like she's a phantom, but you could really see like the pinstripe, you know, being dominant in her.
Yeah.
I have one baby, sorry, two from that pair that are left, and I'm holding them back as long as I can.
Okay.
Everyone else is left.
Yeah, I've seen like even the cappuccino tiger stuff that they've made. I've seen some of those, and those are really cool too. I think that there's so much more that can be done with tiger that's just been kind of overlooked, and now that people are starting to really work it and see how it interacts with other genes and such, that there's a lot of potential there. It's just it's going to take time, right? And having strategic projects and stuff, and really trying to pop that pattern out because you get a lot of tiger and a lot of as a residual and a lot of different ones. Like I have some of them tigering that popped up in some of my lily whites, the empty back phantom. They're het phantom, so the het phantom really pushes out that dark color, like the contrast, and then you really see the tigering in it. But yeah, it's playing with the different genes and seeing how it interacts and what exactly is the the secret ingredient to pop in there that's really going to make it pop. So that's fun. Is there any like so for all of you, is there any projects that you're looking to eventually maybe get into, or that you are hopeful in the future that you're like, this is like a special project that I really want to add to my collection, and a goal, I guess, to get to?
Oh, well, that's yeah. So okay, so we're in love. We've got a few girls who are not quite ready to go yet. But we love the chocolates with the white head fringing. Um, so Celestial, they're
Yeah.
doing a great job with them.
Okay.
They're calling them blondes.
Okay.
We absolutely love the look of it. We've got two girls here, Kinder and Echo. And we're probably gonna add our very dark boy Onyx to them, possibly.
Okay.
Or we also have another guy in mind, Phoenix, who may help them along with that head fringing. But yeah, that's
That's
kind of where
awesome.
we're at. Yeah.
How about you, April? Is there something specific that you're like looking to get into?
Yeah.
I'll share mine after.
I've been browsing fetal, and there's actually one on Morph Market auctions right now. It's a lavender frap.
Okay.
I really want to incorporate lavender. It doesn't need to be a frappuccino; it could just be like a regular cap. But yeah, I want to put that into my hypo projects because I want to see how it interacts with. Like, I would probably use periwinkle. I would periwinkle with a male lavender cappuccino and
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah.
Here, we're going to give you full screen. Hold on. There you go.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, just in case it
Yeah,
isn't making any sense. She's not fired.
She's not fired up right now,
But she gets like a dark kind of chocolate brown, like really rich brown.
yeah.
Am I doing this right? Goodness. What if
And she kind of has, okay, I see.
I like her back.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay.
I just
Very
woke
cool.
up, so
Yeah.
all you guys
She's like, I don't want to cooperate.
No.
Yeah, that's really neat. Yeah, I like that. It's
I
almost like
love
a
her
crowning,
crown.
eh? Like, yeah, I love the
Hmm.
crown. Yeah,
Oh,
that's really cool.
yeah. So that's where we want to be next year.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I've been shopping around still, and my husband, if he's listening, he'll be like, "What do you mean shopping around?" But like I really want to work into like some really high white, like white, not orange pattern, but white pattern, high extreme harlequins into xanthics, because I'd like to see if I can get like more of a, and I've seen the stuff over like in Korea, and I've seen some people making some more high white that's not lily white, but everything that you see online with the heavy white tends to be lily white xanthic. So I really kind of want to see if we can make some high white non-lily xanthics. Um so that was a huge one, and I'm like, I always constantly keep an eye out for the cold fusion, because I think the cold fusion would be really cool to tie into the green project.
Yes.
So
Yep.
that's what I'm like, if there's the right gecko that's cold fusion that would tie into that, that'd be really awesome, because I think it might push it a little bit further. But so
So
those are the two ones.
I want to hear about your green project and how
I
that's
know. I'm
going.
so
Well,
excited. I'm so
it's
excited.
it's not going anywhere right now. I got one egg and I thought it was a dud, but it's started to ring. So it's in the incubator. Um and but they've been paired, and hopefully Shorty's going to start laying some eggs so I can have some of them hatch out this year, which I'm pretty excited about. I do have another female actually that's coming over from House of Geckos, and she's also like a lavender, but has some of those kind of greenish, like teal colors to her. So her structure is really nice. So she was produced by Morph Menagerie, and out of one of her females, I think the female was hers, and Rockstar Gecko lineage as well. And so very nice structure. And she's coming next week. So I'm getting her on Tuesday, and then she gets to go into quarantine. But she's ready to go. Like, she's breeding ready. So once she clears quarantine, chances are I'll be pairing those two up um later on this season. But I mean, until I start hatching some, I do have one hatchling that I bought. So the story behind it, Lipton was with Aristomorphs when I saw him. Um, and at that time, she had a waiting list for stuff from. She had paired it with Basil, was the female that she had, and I was like, "Can I be on a waiting list? I'm really interested in one of these babies." You know, as I was like, it was one of the main things when I first got into it. I was like, "Oh my god, a green gecko! I really want to start making these green geckos, right?" And she ended up selling and closing shop, but when she was selling all her stuff, Lipton was already gone, Basil was already gone, but she had a hatchling out of Lipton and Basil that I bought. And when I got it, it was brownish, and I was like a little disappointed, and okay, well, not what I expected, and I had some dowel spots on it, but now it's up to about 20 grams, and she's starting to show green.
Please show me
So
a picture because they always usually start out brown too. And when they
yeah,
fire down, they're
yeah, so she's now starting, and I've been waiting. I haven't taken a picture recently of her. So because I've been waiting to get that, like when she's in that green phase. She has the same white walls, the same dorsal, the great structure, everything from Lipton, but she has the dowel spots, and she still has that brownish that kind of comes and goes. So she'll fire up more brown than where he fires up like almost black, right? So that's
mm,
what I'm trying to see, like if it progresses as she gets older, if she's gonna, and it's kind of neat that I have something that's that far along that I can kind of compare and see like if it's gonna change as she gets older, and that'll kind of help me with what I'm holding back and stuff when I start producing other stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, she's just surprised me recently. She's starting to go green, so we'll see what happens with that. um but yeah, I mean, it's a waiting game, right? Like, it's pairing. Hopefully I'll have some hatchlings on the ground this year, and I do have another female. April from ALP Morphs had brought in two females from Europe, and one of them was the one I was looking at to buy to pair with Lipton, and she ended up selling her to me. So I do have her, but I'm not sure because she does go kind of brownish sometimes. So I'm not sure if I want to pair her in or if I might keep her to put to Vado, the lily I got from there, because she does have more of that tangerine hues on it and stuff. And I'm trying to keep the pattern more white on the green project. So we'll see. Time will tell. I also have a lavender lily white that I'm going to put to him.
Wow,
So
that's exciting. That's very
yeah,
exciting.
I'm going to do some green lilies. That would be really neat.
Oh my
That
gosh. That's
would
a
be
first.
so
That's got to be a first.
That'd be so cool. Like that's what I'm hoping. She's going to be ready next season too. So the green lilies is what I'm hoping for that one, because she's very, very, like, she's lavender. Like there's no, she fires down, she's so pale, and when she fires up it's like almost like purplish. Like she's very, very like the hypo is strong in that lavender. So it'll be really neat to see. And I think she may be soft scale, so I don't know. Time will tell with that project to see what comes out of it, but it's
that
fun
is
to play with, right? And it's one of those things when you're working with bases and like stacking the hypos and stuff, like it's tough because you don't know what you're going to get until you start producing stuff, and then that's where you're going to start refining your projects. Like I find like when you're working on specific projects, you're not going to, like, that first season is really like um that learning curve where you're really trying to figure out, okay, well, what is it that I need to change, or is this working, or is this not working? And then sometimes you need to repair, or you know, it's really good and okay, well, I'm going to repair this one because this has really worked out for me. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
where we're at with the green project. But
Yeah, the first season with some new animals is usually just your prototype season, right? You're gonna see what comes out, and like you said, if you have to tweak a little here and a little there.
yeah, well, and like sometimes you pop out some crazy stuff like the pixel stuff that's been popping out. I know April's been popping out some pixel as well, and you're like, where they're both non-visual, and you're like, where did this come from?
See, yeah. So that's what's. So Ember and Moose, I originally thought were visual pixels, but if the gene itself is recessive, which it appears to be because of Ultimate and Golden Hour making that pixel, yeah, I just don't.
It's tough because in theory with the recessive, if it's recessive, then if you have two visuals similar to Xanthics or anything else, like you'd be making 100% pixel out of your
Yeah,
hatchlings, right? So because it's the same with phantoms. If you put two phantoms together, you're getting phantoms. That's what you're going to produce. Unless there's multiple lines, and that's the other thing. I mean, it could be similar to like what we see with Dalmatian. There's a recessive version of Dalmatian, and then there's the codominant. So like we don't know. It's so early on that we don't know how it's going to present, and the lines in everyone's collection can be different. So we could be working with something that's presenting recessive, and then you have somebody else that's working on something that's not. And that's where it becomes tricky, because you're like, then it becomes that argument where you're like, well, it's recessive. No, it's not. I'm like, well, it might actually be two different lines that we're working with here.
yeah,
So it's going to
that's
take a
also
little bit
true.
more time to figure it out. Just like Modern Gecko hatched an Xanthic out of like non-Xanthic animals. So he's held back those because it's the Canadian version of Xanthic is what he's dubbed it. And like, yeah, definitely not out of Xanthic stock. So it's, you know, sometimes these things pop up. Look at the highway, right? So we're so far behind compared to things like ball pythons where they have, you know, and I think that personally, the culture and the mentality needs to change, where people need to be more innovative, because ball pythons, they would put so many different genetics, and then you'll make combos, and then the different genes interact and will make something completely different. And I'm sure there's possibility of doing that. Like we've seen it already with how lily white interacts with different genes, where I think we need to be a little bit more innovative in our pairings. So it's kind of refreshing to hear. I know, David, you were mentioning, like, you know, sometimes you do an oddball pairing and it's like, well, wow, that's, you know, did not expect that to come out, but that's how you're going to start seeing some cool combos, I think, when people are kind of thinking outside the box.
That's exactly it. That when we went into this, we're like, you know what? We're gonna try to exactly do things outside of the box, things that people probably would be like, we're not gonna do that. For us, like it's very exciting to see what happens. So that's kind of have been our path, right?
Yeah, that's our motto.
That's our motto.
HKD Gecko says,
Well,
good
this
morning,
week-
y'all.
Hey, Nick.
Hi, Nick.
We're supposed to be there with him hanging up today, but we bailed on Nick.
You're here with us.
Nick, hopefully you have a good show, Nick. Hopefully you have a good show. He's bending this morning, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
Well, we've hit the hour mark. I think that was a really good chat. And I think this is fun to do like these coffee and friends chats. And maybe we'll do another one and, talk about what's going on and what's new and all that. It's kind of neat to kind of touch base and share little things that we've learned, lessons learned and stuff with everyone. So thank you guys. Thank you for joining. I'm going to pop you guys in the backstage. And any last words before we?
I would like to say thank you very much for having us today. It was our pleasure.
Absolutely. This was
Yeah.
fun. I can't believe it's been over an hour already.
And it was
Right? Like it's been an hour and 11 minutes. It goes by so fast. What do you do? I mean, this is what it is. You chat about geckos and then it spirals out of control.
I haven't even made it through my extra large coffee yet, but that's good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
everybody have a
awesome.
great
Thank you,
weekend.
Crystal.
So I'll put you guys back in the back room and I'll see you in a few minutes. Thanks very much for joining.
Bye.
Have an awesome Sunday. And thank you for everyone who stayed on and who's going to catch us later. It was an awesome coffee chat, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday and have an awesome week. And we will be back. I will be back next week, and next week is going to be a special brunch episode. We have Little Monsters on, so we're going to be on at noon instead of 9. So you get to sleep in if you want to catch this, and I'll see you next Sunday. So have a great week.
Shake your dreams from your hair. I'm already there, right beside you. So please